Assalamu alaikum students. In this lecture we are going to study about importance and characteristics of composition writing. So previously we have studied about what is composition writing, the structure of composition writing and the types of composition writing. So now in this lecture we are going to study that how the composition writing is important to any person, or particularly the students of English language, or particularly those students who are studying the subject composition writing and the characteristics of the composition writing. So the lecture outline is the importance of composition writing. We are going to study about the importance of composition writing and the characteristics of composition writing. So let's begin towards the lecture. Importance of composition writing. Composition writing is an essential tool in literacy, education, but most importantly communication. In the very first lecture I have taught you about communication, the process of communication. Communication may held verbally or in a written form. So composition writing is actually dealing with the written form of piece of writing. So composition writing is most importantly important in communication. If you do not compose your writing in a good way, the audience will not get the complete idea. Like we have studied the different types of composition writing. One type of composition writing is effects and causes. If you are writing something about effects and causes of something, if you do not write in a complete way, in a good way about the causes or the effects of something, then how do the audience or the readers are getting the gist of your thinking, of your thought, that what actually you want to say about that particular thing? So in communication, the composition writing is very important. It's very important for you to learn about the composition writing for a successful communication. Composition writing allows people to convey ideas, feelings, emotions, opinions, political views, arguments, and many other forms of communication. So previously we have studied different types of communication writings. So it's the way to convey your ideas, your feelings when you are emotions, when you are telling a story, or you are giving your opinions, or you are giving the political views, or you are giving arguments for something. Like we have studied argumentative or persuasive type of writing and many other forms of communication. Learning composition writing sharpens mind, teaches students how to communicate, and develops their thinking capacities and ability to understand others. Writing is thinking, and every student deserves to be a strong thinker. So here particularly the composition writing is about the students. So teaching the students about composition writing, that how basically a writing or a piece of structure is actually composed. It is not like the thing we just write roughly, or we just write without any rule. For example, if we have to write about cause and effect of something, so we have to keep in mind certain rules. We do not write in an absurd way. We have to keep in mind the certain rules. So it sharpens mind of the students and to how to communicate in an effective way, and it develops their thinking capacities. For example, previously I have given you an assignment to write the paragraphs on different topics. So it's actually a practice to sharpen your mind to how to communicate on different topics, and it is actually a practice to develop your thinking capacities and your ability to understand others. So by learning composition writing, you are able to enhance your thinking capacities, and you are familiar with the ways that how do you write in such a way that others can understand. Writing is thinking, and every student deserves to be a strong thinker. English composition. So basically in composition writing is a broad term. Composition writing may be of in any language. In Urdu language we use composition writing. In Arabic language there is a composition writing. In Persian language there is a composition writing. So giving a structure, a particular structure to particular rules to a form of writing is actually a composition writing. So in this course we are actually concerned with English composition. So English composition is an essential subject for all college majors, because it develops analytical thinking by students attempting to think beyond the obvious and use critically to explore other possibilities. The views expressed are articulated and expressed in the format of composition. So college majors means the students who are actually getting the degrees in English, like you people, and it develops analytical thinking in the students, that how to analyze the things in different way. For example, if a piece of writing is about argumentative writing, so you, by analyzing that piece of mind, you get the gist of that piece of writing, that okay, it's about something, the arguments, or it's about something, the causes or the effects of something. So English composition is an excellent way to develop critical thinking. It develops critical thinking, strengthening articulation and expressive communication, and improving writing skills. In reading the various forms of literature and understanding of the history of the role-playing elements, students learn to effectively analyze and compelling works written to express their views in the format of composition. So English composition is an excellent way, or the good way to develop a critical thinking. The students start thinking critically, they start taking the things in a more structured way, and it strengthens and it makes the communication expressive, and it improves your writing skills. It is essential in assignment writing. Most importantly, it comes in handy when the student is handling complex writing assignment, more specifically academic writing. So learning the composition writing is very important in writing an assignment, because if you do not know that how to compose a piece of writing in a perfect way or in a good way, you would not write the assignment in a perfect way. Because it's very necessary to understand that how a particular piece of work is structured. Every piece of work cannot be written in the same form. Like if I am going to write on cause and effect of something, or if I am writing about the argumentative writing, my structure of writing would be totally different. In causes and effects, my writing style would be different. In persuasive or argumentative piece of writing, or in narrative form of writing, my way of style is different. My way of writing is different. I will structure the piece of writing in a totally different way. So when writing an assignment, what the question is actually, my writing is structured on the question, based on the question. So if I do not know how to compose a particular piece of writing, so I will not be able to write effectively, I will not be able to write in a good way. Okay, now the main purpose of composition writing is to help in enhancing the understanding of the audience. It follows a formal tone and style. So what is the main purpose of composition writing? That helps in enhancing the understanding of the audience. For example, if you write a piece of writing in totally a structured way, in a formal tone, in a formal style, it will be good for understanding of the audience. For example, if I have to write any piece of writing academically, I would never use anything, any slangs or any else thing which would take me towards informal tone or informal style. So if I write any piece of writing keeping in mind the rules and the types of the composition writing, it would help the readers to understand my piece of writing. For example, if I would be familiar with cause and effect way of writing, my readers, my audience would definitely get the idea that okay, this piece is about the cause and effects of something. It allows a student to convey their understanding about the topic or any idea. So when you write something, you are actually using your mind. You use mind mapping technique, you brainstorm yourself, you gather the ideas, what you actually have, what the understanding you have with the particular topic, and then it conveys your understanding about the topic. Like I have given you in the assignment the causes and effects of noise pollution. So every student, all the students, it's not like all students have written the same paragraph on noise pollution. Everyone has their different thinking, everyone has their different understanding with the topic, with that area. So a piece of writing, the composition writing also conveys that how much the student has the understanding with the particular area or with the particular piece of writing. So it enhances analytical thinking. You take information and communicate it in a way that makes sense to the audience. So again, it enhances your analytical thinking. Analytical means what? The quality of an analysis, that you do not write things without judging them, without collecting the valid information. You actually analyze the things and then you put them in your writing. You take information, like for example, you are writing about the causes and effects of noise pollution, so you search out for the effects, and actually the causes of noise pollution, you do not write like, you cannot say that eating too much can cause noise pollution. No, this is not a way. First, you have to get the information, you have to use your analytical thinking, and then communicate in a way that makes sense to the audience. So does it make any sense if I say the cause of noise pollution is eating too much, or Coca-Cola is the cause of noise pollution, or drinking water too much is the cause of noise pollution? Does it make any sense that if I say the effect of noise pollution is obesity, the effect of noise pollution is something else? So it would not make any sense to the audience. So first, it enhances your analytical thinking. You start analyzing the things in a proper way. You start taking the information in an authentic and valid information, and only then you communicate. And in that way you communicate. Here communication means not orally. Here composition writing refers to the written form of communication, which we have studied before in the lecture of communication. So you communicate in a way that makes sense to the audience. The composition writing focuses strongly on style and technique. So it actually focuses strongly on what? On the style and technique. So in composition writing, you are actually giving a structure to your writing. So your style and technique is very important. For example, in cause and effect piece of writing, the composition writing gives you two ways or two styles of writing, that either you gives causes first or effects after, or either you describe the effects and causes after. Or in comparison and contrast piece of writing, the composition writing gives two rules, that either you give the contrast and compare one by one, like in one statement you give the comparison and in other statement you give the contrast, or either you give first all the comparisons, all the similarities, and then you describe all the differences, all the contrast, or first you give all the differences and then you explain all the similarities. So it focuses strongly on the style and technique. It develops research skills. In previous point we have studied analytical skills. So analytical skill is actually synonymous to research skills, like when you are actually connecting information, you are actually searching on something, so it's actually developing your research skills, you are actually researching on something. Composition writing fosters our ability to explain and refine our ideas to others and ourselves. So what composition writing fosters? It fosters our ability to explain, like our ability to explain something. Some students who were not familiar with composition writing do not know how to explain themselves, or how to explain any point, or how to give any idea on something. So by reading and by learning composition writing in a good way, in an understandable way, it makes you able to explain and refine your ideas to others and to yourself. You yourself get the idea that okay, on this point or this particular topic I have that such type of thinking. It expresses who we are as people. It reflects our own thinking. Okay, if you write the causes and effects of something, so it is expressing that who we are as people. Some people, okay, we have some, if I have to write the topic, the paragraph on the personality of Imran Khan, some people write it as negative, shows the negative personality of Imran Khan. Some people depicts the positive personality of Imran Khan. So it is actually expressing our own thinking. It is actually expressing that who we are as people, where we stand, what is our thinking. For example, if the word, if you have to write about a knife. So some people having positive thinking may start their writing about the knife is a kitchen tool. It is used in cutting the fruits and vegetables. Or some people may say that knife is a dangerous tool. It may use to harm any people, or it may use to murder someone, or it may be used to cut someone brutally. So there is a difference between thoughts of two people. So it is actually expressing that who we are as people. Composition writing is actually reflecting our own thinking. So now moving towards the characteristics of composition writing. So there are some characteristics of composition writing. What they are: the first one is focused and planned. The composition writing is always focused and it is planned. Before writing, you have to keep in your mind that what type of composition writing you are actually going to write. If I have cause and effect, okay, I have in mind that I have to write only cause and effects. Neither would be added in, as would anything else would not be added in other than the cause and effect of something. It answers the questions and shows an in-depth understanding of the topic and at hand. In-depth understanding of the topic at hand. So it's focused and planned. The second one is what? Structured. It is by the name's composition. It is clear that it is that type of writing which is structured, which has some composition, which has some structure. It is coherent, logical, and brings together points and materials that are related. For example, if I am going to write, if you people are going to write about the causes and effects of noise pollution, you have to be focused just on the causes and effects of noise pollution. You cannot write in between what are the causes and effects of drinking too much fizzy drinks and what are the effects and causes of watching TV. So it is coherent, means coherent in ideas. It is logical and brings points together and materials that are related. So you have to write the material which is actually relatable to that particular point, to that particular area. So the next is evidenced. It shows the knowledge on a given area of study, supports opinions and arguments using evidence that is referenced accurately. Similarly, I have given you the example before that in writing the causes and effects of noise pollution, I can never write that the effect of noise pollution is the obesity. No, if it is written somewhere, and if it is accurate, then only then I can write in my piece of writing. Otherwise, I will not write anything in my piece of writing which is not accurate, which has no evidence, which is not referenced in some website, in some book, or in any material. So evidence is basically required for a composition writing. Then formal tone and style. It uses appropriate language and tenses, employs clarity, balance, and conciseness. So the formal style and formal tone is actually basically used. It uses appropriate language and tenses. For example, if you are writing any piece of writing, you have to follow the language rules, the academic language rules. You are not allowed to use slangs, to use abbreviations. You are allowed to use the proper language. You are not allowed to use the abusive language. You are allowed to use the tenses that are grammatically correct. You have to show the clarity, and you have to be concise to that particular topic. So this is all about today's lecture. What we have studied the importance of composition writing, and then we have studied the characteristics of composition writing. Then these are the references. You can take further guide from these materials as well, or else you can also search out for any book or from any website where you can gather the more material, and you can also write your understanding with this topic. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.